Hello students, today we are going to learn about one important division of plant kingdom, that is bryophyte. So we have studied that plant kingdom is divided into 5 divisions: algae, bryophyte, pteridophyte, gymnosperm and angiosperm. So this is second division of plant kingdom, that is bryophyte. So what is the name of this division? It is commonly known as bryophyta, and study of bryophytes known as bryology. So father of bryology in general is Hedwig, and Indian bryology, so it was studied by Professor Shivram Kashyap. So father of Indian bryology is Professor Shivram Kashyap. Now, where they live, what is the address of this bryophyte, right? So what is their habitat? They are land plants. They grow in damp, humid and shaded habitats, but few can be aquatic too. So mostly they are land plants, but they grow in which places where humid condition is there. So they grow in nearby monsoon season. Nutrition, they are autotrophic because they are from plant kingdom. So all uh, organisms of plant kingdom are autotrophic. They are non-cormophytes. So what do you mean by non-cormophytes? They do not have true root, stem and leaves. So why they do not have true root, stem and leaves? So they do not have any vascular system. We already know that first vascular system will be developed in pteridophytes. So bryophytes are atracheophytes. They are non-vascular plants. So they do not have root, stem, leaves, but they have something like that. So if something like that is there, so we use the term oid. So stem like colloid, root like rhizoid. You already know rhizoid is related to root, and leaf like structure is known as phylloid. So they have stem like colloid, root like rhizoid and leaf like phylloid. Now, how they reproduce? So their reproduction can be vegetative reproduction. So in vegetative reproduction, they reproduce by fragmentation, by tuber formation, by bud formation, adventitious branches and gemma. But asexual reproduction is absent. So we have studied mitospore formation in case of fungi and algae, but bryophyte onwards, these mitospores do not form, right? So what are mitospores? That develop due to mitosis, but here mitospores are absent. So mitospores are present in two organisms. Which two organisms? Fungi and algae. Now, their sexual reproduction. So after red algae, most sexual reproduction is most advanced one, that is oogamous. So we have studied red algae, rhodophyceae, where most advanced sexual reproduction is found. So what is oogamous sexual reproduction? Where one large non-motile female gamete and one small male gamete can be motile or non-motile. Here, there is present of multicellular jacketed sex organs. In algae, we have studied they have unicellular sex organ, but here they have multicellular and jacketed sex organ. So we will study details of the sex organs. So their male sex organ is known as antheridium and their female sex organ is known as archegonium. So in algae, antheridium was there in Cara, but first archegonium developed in bryophytes. So bryophytes are also known as first archegoniates. Now, how they reproduce? So there is one method, that is zoidogamy. So what is zoidogamy? Syngamy via water. So they release male gamete in water. So they form motile male gamete. This motile male gamete is known as antherozoid. So you need to remember this. What is motile male gamete? Known as antherozoid. Their antherozoid is comma shaped with two flagella. So here there are two flagella. So antherozoid of bryophytes, comma shaped and biflagellated. They have female gamete, that is egg, that is present in archegonium. When antherozoid and egg fuse, that process is syngamy, and that requires what? It requires water. So for syngamy, this antherozoid will swim to the archegonium and goes to egg present in archegonium. So the syngamy is via water. It need medium as water. So this type of syngamy is known as zoidogamy. Now zygote will form after the fusion, right? Antherozoid was haploid, egg was haploid, so zygote will be diploid. Now zygote will develop into embryo, and zygote develop into embryo by which method? So there is one division, that is mitosis, because ploidy remains the same. So first time embryo develop in bryophyte. We have studied that in algae embryo development do not occur, they are non-embryophyte, but bryophyte onward embryo will develop. So bryophytes are first embryophytes. Now these are land plants, but they require water for their reproduction. So they are known as amphibians of plant kingdom. And which type of amphibian? Non-vascular. So if question is asked amphibians of plant kingdom, then what will you write? You will write bryophytes. So here I have written that bryophyte onward, all 4 plant groups, plant divisions are embryophyte. So first embryo develop, that is in bryophytes. Next one, what are different sex organs? So whenever you see some bryophyte, right, leafy bryophyte or thalloid bryophyte, that structure is gametophyte. Their main plant body is gametophyte. Their main plant body is what? Gametophyte. So they have male sex organ. Their male sex organ is known as antheridium, and their female sex organ is known as archegonium. So antheridium, round club-shaped stalk structure. What is the structure of antheridium? So they have jacket. Jacket is obviously sterile. It do not form any gamete. Inside that jacket, they have androgonial cells. They are known as androcytes or sperm mother cell. So antheridium, I already told you that antheridium develop in which part? So antheridium develop on gametophyte. Their main plant body is gametophyte. So all the structures of antheridium and archegonium will be haploid. So this androcyte or sperm mother cell or androgonial cell will be haploid. And by mitosis, they will develop motile, they will form motile male gamete. And what is this motile male gamete known as? Antherozoid. Now, this gamete comma-shaped biflagellated that we already have learned. Another structure is archegonium, that is female sex organ. So archegonium is flask-shaped. In archegonium, there is one jacket, sterile. It is made up of 6 rows of cells. Then inside that, this is neck region. So in neck region, it will have NCC. What will be the NCC? Neck canal cell. They can be 4 to 10 in number. This portion is known as venter. So in venter, there is one venter canal cell and one egg cell, that is female gamete, and it also have stalk. Both the structures have stalk, and this is lead of the archegonium. Now what happens? So male gamete require water to reach the archegonium, so it will move towards the female gamete via water. So this type of syngamy is known as syngamy. Now how it will move towards the archegonium? In water there are so many structures. So what will direct antherozoid to move towards the archegonium? So when this archegonium get mature, its VCC and NCC, venter canal cell, neck canal cell, will get degraded and it form mucilage. This mucilage absorbs the water. So now it will get swollen, so it will swell and it will generate pressure on which cells? Lead cells. So lead cells will open and it will break and mouth of archegonium will open. Now there are certain chemicals that are present in this material that is released from archegonium. So what are that materials? So there is some sucrose, K+, and some proteins. So these chemicals will attract male gamete, that is antherozoid, so that it can move towards the archegonium. So this type of movement where entire organism or entire cell move towards some chemical stimulus that is known as chemotactic movement. What is the word? Chemotactic. Chemo means chemical. Tactic movement is movement of entire organism. So entire enterozoid will move towards the archegonium, where inside that archegonium egg is present, right? So the next topic is I have written here life cycle of funaria. So first we will study life cycle of funaria so that our gametophyte and sporophyte concepts will get clear. So funaria is moss, right? So what will be the life cycle of this funaria? So funaria is leafy bryophyte. So I have one diagram over here. So in monsoon season, you can see some structures like this, right? So they are funaria. ये कौन से structure हो गए? These are funaria. So here in life cycle of funaria, the main stage of their life is leafy shoot, right? So I already told you, whenever you see some bryophyte, what is that leafy structure? What is their main body known as? It is known as gametophyte. They have haploid plant body. Their main plant body is what? Haploid. So this leafy structure is gametophyte. Now, this funaria have monoecious condition. What do you mean by monoecious? It will have both sex organs on the same plant, that is antheridium and archegonium. So branch that bear antheridium is male gametophore. Here, PHRE 4, that means bearing structure. So male gamete bearing structure, male sex organ bearing structure, male gametophore, and female gamete bearing structure, female sex organ bearing structure will be female gametophore. Female gametophore will have archegonium at its tip and male gametophore will have antheridium at its tip. And they have rhizoid, and the rhizoids are multicellular and branch. You need to learn this. This is important one. So funaria, that is moss, have multicellular and branch rhizoid. And these are rhizoids are present on haploid plant body. They are part of gametophyte. They are not actual roots. They are actually what? They are root-like structure, and they are haploid because they are part of what? They are part of gametophyte. Now, this male and female sex organs are present at tip and via syngamy, via zoidogamy. This motile male gamete will move to the archegonium and it will form zygote. So where zygote will be formed? The place where egg is present. So where is the egg? Egg is present in the venter of archegonium. So this fertilization will occur inside archegonium. Are you getting this? This fertilization will occur inside the archegonium. This male gamete will go to the archegonium venter, right? So this is internal fertilization. Male gamete is transferring via water, but fertilization does not occur in external medium. It is occurring inside the archegonium. So you need to remember, bryophyte onwards, all plants show internal fertilization, right? So this is important point. Now, zygote developed inside the venter of archegonium, right? It will develop, it is the first cell of sporophyte, and now by mitosis, it will develop into embryo. And this embryogenesis is holoblastic and exoscopic. So what is holo? Holo means entire. Entire zygote will get converted into embryo. So it is holoblastic. And what is exoscopic? So exo means outside. So this embryo will develop towards the mouth of this archegonium, right? So now what happens? So from embryo, sporophyte will develop. So here, see, this was female gametophore branch, right? So here archegonium was there. So from archegonium, sporophyte get developed. So their sporophyte do not have independent existence. It depend on what? It depend on gametophyte. It require gametophyte, right? So now this sporophyte will develop on gametophyte. Getting my point? And this sporophyte will be diploid. Its sporophyte will have three portions: foot, seta, capsule. Which three portions? Foot, seta, capsule. Now every part of sporophyte will be diploid because it developed from the zygote, and it is dependent on gametophyte for only space. See, this sporophyte is green in color. Sporophyte is green in color, so it is photosynthetic, so it can make its own food, but it depends on gametophyte for space. It cannot form directly on the land or soil. It is cord-like structure, right? So it is also known as cord moss, and it is partial parasite on gametophyte. Sporophyte will be partial parasite on gametophyte. Now, this capsule will have spore mother cell. So capsule is part of sporophyte. Spore mother cells are part of sporophyte. So spore mother cells will be diploid. By meiosis, spore mother cell will release meiospore, that are spores, and that spores will be haploid because they are formed by which process? By meiosis. Their meiospores are green in color. So this is known as green moss. Now, all spores are similar type, right? So it is homosporous condition. What do you mean by homosporous condition? All spores that are formed are of similar type. So all bryophytes are homosporous. Now spore will disperse via what? Spores will disperse via wind. So they will disperse in dry condition. Spores are resistant structure, so they will allow this plant to sustain in unfavorable conditions, right? So in unfavorable conditions, spores will survive and they will get dispersed via wind. And whenever favorable condition arise, they will get germinate. So spores were haploid. By their germination, they will form haploid plant body. What is that haploid plant body? Gametophyte. But in starting phase, this spore will form juvenile plant body that is known as protonema. So protonema is filamentous gametophyte, and it is which stage? It is juvenile stage. So it is prostrate and it goes horizontally to the soil surface, and it will get multiplied by fragmentation. It will form secondary bud, it will sprout and form secondary protonema. And from this secondary protonema, again, which stage will be formed? So again, leafy gametophyte will be formed, right? So here, both stages are very clear. From protonema to leafy stage, it is what? It is gametophytic stage. In gametophyte, sex organs are present. Which two sex organ? Antheridium and archegonium. Fertilization occurs. Zygote will be the first cell of sporophyte. Sporophyte will develop on the gametophyte, right? And all the cells of the sporophytes are diploid in nature. Sporophyte will form spore mother cell. By meiosis, it will form the spore. So spore will be haploid, and after germination, spore will form first stage of gametophyte, that is protonema. Now, this is the actual diagram, actual image of this moss funaria. So these structures that we are seeing are capsule. These are what? Capsule. So this is obviously what? Sporophyte, right? And you can see brown colored some structures over here. So these are peristome teeth that I will be teaching you in next slide, right? Next one. So there are main two types of bryophyte that is given in NCERT. One is Hepaticopsida, another is Bryopsida. So Hepaticopsida are liverwort and Bryopsida are mosses. So in both main plant body will be gametophyte, but in liverwort, they will have flat body, dorsiventral with dorsiventral symmetry. They have thalloid plant body. Whereas in mosses, they have leafy shoot that already we have studied, but true leaves absent, and instead of that true leaf, there will be phylloid. See, in liverwort, there will be dorsal surface, there will be ventral surface, and on ventral surface, rhizoids are there. But their rhizoids are what? Their rhizoids are unicellular and unbranched. Whereas in mosses, they have which type of rhizoid? Multicellular and branch. Their sex organs are present on sexual branches in both the case, but in Markensia, male plant will form male sexual branch that is known as anthridiophore. Female plant will form archegoniophore, and it is dioecious plant. Markensia is what? It is dioecious plant. Male and female plants are different. So on different plant, antheridium and archegonium will be formed. Now, in case of funaria, sex organs are present at the leafy, tip of leafy shoot, that is gametophore. Antheridium formed on male gametophore, and archegonium will form on female gametophore. Now, sporophyte. So in both the cases, in case of liverwort, sporophyte will have capsule seta and foot, and here also capsule seta and foot. But Rixia will have only capsule. And here in case of liverwort, this sporophyte is non-green. So it is totally dependent on gametophyte. Whereas here it is partial parasite, and it will have some sterile cells that are known as columella. Now, in case of moss, there will be some stomata, annular stomata present inside the capsule. And what are stomata for? For gaseous exchange, right? So their stomata is circular. It is annular in structure. Next one, vascular tissue absent in both, right? But in case of funaria, some hydroid and leptoids are there for water and food conduction. Spore dispersal methods are different in both the cases. In case of liverwort, spore disperse via elaters, and they have a hygroscopic band. These elaters will be developed from spore mother cell, and they will be diploid in structure. So if spore mother cell will do meiosis, it will form spores, and without meiosis, it will develop into elaters. So elaters will be diploid. What are common examples of liverwort? Rixia, Markensia, Palea, Porella. There are 4 examples: Rixia, Markensia, Palea, Porella. And in Porella, leaves are present in 2 rows. It is dioecious plant, right? So this is Porella. Now, in case of moss, there is most elaborate method for spore dispersal. This line is given in NCERT. It is important. So which method is there? So they disperse their spores via peristome teats. So they have total 32 teats. They are like this structure, but they are present in circular manner, right? So 16 small inside and 16 large outside. So they have how many teats? They have total 32 teats. And they also have hygroscopic bands for dispersal. Now they show xerocracy. Spore disperse in dry condition. So when water is there, due to weight of water, this peristome teeth will bend towards the inner side, so they will close the structure. When there is dry condition, they will be open, right? And when they will open, they will release the spore. So this mechanism is known as xerocracy. What is xero? Dry condition. So when spore disperse in case of dry condition, it is known as xerocracy. Example, so there are 2 main examples of this mosses, sphagnum and funaria. Next one, Markensia. So this is also very important topic. This is given in NCERT, and NEET point of view, this is important one. So it is dioecious plant, right? So they have 2 different plant body, male gametophyte and female gametophyte. Male gametophyte will have anthridiophore, and on anthridiophore, anthridium will be formed. So whenever you find disc-like diagram, this is disc-like structure, so it will be male gametophyte. And if you find some petal-like structure, flower-like structure, it will be female gametophyte. They have asexual buds, that is in gemma cups, right? So gemma cup is receptacle in which gemma are present, and gemma represent asexual bud. So gemma cups, green and multicellular structure. It have asexual bud, that is gemma. It will be haploid. Obviously, this structure is haploid plant body, gametophyte. Now gemma will have English H-shaped structure. It will have 2 notches where buds can be formed. So in original diagram, these are, see, this is petal-like structure. So this will be male or female gametophore. This will be female gametophore bearing archegoniophore. And these are gemma cups that look like this, right? So here also, see, this is disc-like structure. that is male gametophyte, and this is female gametophyte. Next one. So now you can answer this true or false. Protonema is juvenile stage of Rixia. Protonema is juvenile stage of what? Funaria. Mosses have elaborate mechanism of spore dispersal. So it was in mosses or liverwort, obviously via peristome teeth mosses. And bryophyte can serve as food source for birds. Definitely yes. Next one. So this is given in NCERT. So bryophyte, they include the various mosses and liverworts that are found commonly growing in moist and shaded areas in hills. These diagrams are given in NCERT. You need to remember, you need to memorize all the labels, right? So these are Markensia, this is Funaria, this is leafy gametophyte, this is sporophyte, right? And this diagram is sphagnum. Now, they have given here, they are amphibians of plant kingdom. I already told you they are what? They are non-vascular amphibians of plant kingdom because they live in soil, but they require water for their reproduction, and that method is known as zoidogamy. Now, liverwort will have unicellular rhizoid and mosses will have multicellular rhizoid, but true root, stem and leaves are absent. So they are known as what? Non-cormophyte. They form antheridium and archegonium on gametophyte, right? So antheridium will, both the structures are multicellular. Antheridium will form motile male gamete that is known as antherozoid. Now, after fertilization, they will form zygote, and from zygote, what will form? From zygote, sporophyte will develop, right? And sporophyte will have spore mother cell, meiosis. By meiosis, it will form spore, it will disperse, and it will form gametophyte. And these are first embryophyte. These are what? First embryophyte. So here it is given that they have economical importance. They can be served as food, right? And the species of sphagnum, a moss, provide peat that have long been used as a fuel. So sphagnum is known as peat moss because it will give peat, right? So that is dried and used as fuel. Then it is also known as cotton moss. So sphagnum has water holding capacity. So earlier it was being used instead of cotton, right? And whenever there some planters need to transport some plant, they used to keep sphagnum along with their roots so that it will keep moisture, right? Next one, and it is also known as one more word, it is known as bog moss. So sphagnum generally form bog inside pond, right? So it is known as bog moss. And they have less economic importance, but they have more ecological importance. So ecological point of view, we already know during the time of succession, xeric succession, first structure form will be lichen, and lichen will be replaced by mosses. And they also prevent soil erosion. So there is given liverwort, and these two things are given, liverwort and mosses, and I already discussed everything regarding that. So in mosses, we need to learn three examples. Which three examples? Funaria, polytrichum, and sphagnum, right? So this is all about bryophyte. In next class, we will discuss about pteridophyte. Thank you so much.